I am your host, David Jagno with Upload VR, senior editor, here in replacement for Kyle because he decided that the pressure was too much to be on the show today. And he decided to let me take over and improve the show to bring you a more improved experience here on the VR download. So hello. This is our VR talk show that we record live in our virtual studio here inside the metaverse. And we project it and broadcast it live to you on YouTube. So you can join in the chat, ask us questions, talk with us while we're discussing the news of the week here in VR. And also you can listen afterwards on audio platforms like Spotify and other podcast platforms around the globe. So thank you everyone for tuning in. I am joined by two of my esteemed colleagues over here. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, starting with the woman in blue.
The woman. I think I'm the main improvement here. Hi everyone, my name is the video wizard at Upload VR.
No, dude, don't say wizard. No, wizard. Come on.
Witch.
The video ninja. The video witch ninja.
I'm the video pagan.
I'm Jamie. I write things in the UK. That's all you need to know about me, really. I'm pretty boring.
Oh, mysterious.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I have this very large white box that takes up the entirety of my office now.
The Quest 2 is tiny. Come on now.
Yeah. No. The PS5 is in my home. I can reach out and touch it right now, but you can't see it because I'm in VR.
I'm fairly sure that's breaking an embargo.
Haven't actually played a VR game on it, but I have the adapter. It has arrived. I have the PSVR camera adapter, so my PS5 is now VR capable. So by the time you hear from me again next week sometime, I will be able to give you some impressions of VR on the PS5 because that's all under embargo anyway. I couldn't even discuss it if I had tried it. So all I can talk about with the PS5 is what the console looks like physically, what the controller feels like, and Astro's Playroom. I could talk about that, which is unfortunately not a VR game.
But like it's like one level as well, isn't it? Right? Like not
only
the
one level. I can only talk about one level. That's right. Yeah. So we'll discuss more of that later. But other than that, I have been playing Blair Witch VR. My review for that went up this morning on the site. And
4 out of 5. A 4.
Yeah,
out of 5.
I liked it quite a lot. And see, it's an important distinction to make because I wasn't really a fan of the non-VR version. If I had to review the non-VR, I probably would have given that a 2 or a 3 out of 5. I did not like it very much. But whenever you play it in VR, it adds so much tension and so much atmosphere. And just being there in 3D, like being able to move the flashlight around, which has, I think it has volumetric shadows on the Quest 2, which is the version I played.
Oh,
and the dog is so much more interactive. You can reach down and pet him and stuff like that. Yeah, you can see here. So. And it's a far better game in VR, which is kind of weird and surprising because usually Bloober Team stuff is kind of the opposite.
I feel like they did that version of Layers of Fear, which we're not so crazy about. They did a couple of VR versions of Layers of Fear, which we didn't think were great.
Yeah, but this one I feel like is very well done for a VR game. Like you actually have a VR inventory now on your body. Like you have a walkie-talkie, you have a cell phone, you have like they've actually gone the extra step to make it feel like a VR game. Other than the cutscenes, those are still letterbox rectangles.
Yeah.
Which I mean, there's not much you can do about that. So. But yeah, it's very interactive, good lighting. The textures are not as great as I would hope, but it is running on a Quest, so you know what are you going to do? This is supposed to come to other headsets later, so I think it'll look better on future headsets. But yeah, it's quite good. I liked it.
What you can say, Z?
I feel like with horror games, you just really need to get the lighting good, don't you?
The funny thing is most VR horror games actually don't, so you're just literally searching around in a dark room for ages, like you don't know where to go, and you're like, this isn't scary, this is frustrating.
Yeah.
Which is one of the funny things about that. Yeah, I'm actually kind of excited to check this one out. I haven't played it myself yet. They did Layers of Fear, like we talked about. And it does seem like they've learned a lot from that experience, which will be really, really interesting to check out. I'm interested in seeing the difference between the Quest 1 version and the Quest 2 version. I hadn't thought about that yet, but maybe that's something I'll check out tomorrow.
Yeah, the lighting, The lighting's definitely better. The dog has more fur, is what they've said on the Quest 2 version. In my review, I have a little breakout box that explains the differences. It's all just visual stuff mostly. It's the same game, but if you can, obviously the Quest 2 version is going to be better.
How long is it about?
About 6 hours.
Oh wow! So it's like a full-on like game.
Yeah, for sure.
What about scare factor? Because I'm not going to play if it's too scary.
I mean, there aren't a ton of jump scares. It's much more
like
of a atmospheric tension kind of scary game. Some of the encounters with some of the creatures where you have to like aim your flashlight and stuff can be pretty intense. But in terms of like jumping out, scaring you, just like cheap jump scares, there's not a whole lot. It's
oh, I like that.
It's a more atmospheric game, I would say, for the most part.
I like that because, as we all know, Jamie Felton, Upload resident coward.
As an evil coward.
Cannot deal with it. I mean, that's what we were going to talk about a bit, was that the three of us yesterday did our Halloween special of VR Roulette.
Dreams.
Where we jumped on. Yeah, we jumped onto Dreams, the Media Molecule creation app on PS4, not PS5. And I had some really scary times in Dreams. Dreams, first of all, come a long way on the VR front. Lots of really, really cool stuff you should check out. Although still a lot of hurdles because David actually couldn't get on the Dreams VR content in the space of the stream, which is really annoying.
Yeah, that was frustrating.
In terms of what I played, I got chased around a maze by Shrek and Goofy in a VR horror game.
Not SpongeBob.
Which I mean, you should go back. No, SpongeBob was too scary. I didn't choose SpongeBob.
I think that one was Childhood Nightmares. Is that what that was called?
Childhood Nightmares on Dreams. Yeah. I was thinking this could go in any direction, and they literally just meant a scary, bloody version of Shrek, Goofy, and SpongeBob. What else happened to me?
Strangely enough, with that one, it felt like Shrek was like extremely hard to evade, whereas Goofy was just kind of hanging out on the floor, crawling after you, and it was quite easy to evade.
Yeah, Goofy turns out not great at finding you to kill you, unless you watch a certain Mickey Mouse cartoon.
Yep.
Anyway, but yeah, no, Dream's really cool. Great Halloween content on there right now. In terms of like stuff I've been playing this week, I've been in and out. I'm in a bit of a VR game malaise at the moment, you might say. I haven't played a lot. For review. I've got a code for Agos, A Game of Space, which is an Ubisoft game that came out this week, described as a space simulation. I still haven't tried it, but I do want to play it.
Yeah, and I think that's one of those kind of space sim games that's I don't think there's much combat, if at all. It's more of a exploration, scanning, mining type. Yeah.
It looks like it's gonna be like a lot of effort, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm sure once you get into it, it's gonna be great, but it just much information, much planet scanning, much minerals and resources gained. All those
much
minerals
more
you
like
get from planets.
Enthusiast kind of geared. I thought.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very
you can tell that they really believe in that game because they're launching it alongside Watch Dogs, which means they think it's just as good. You know,
and with twice the fanfare as well. And then the other thing I've been checking out is I've been playing on and off a game that came out on Quest 2 weeks ago called Star Shaman or Star Shaman, as some would like to call it, which is a very strange and interesting game. We actually revealed it at the Upload E3 showcase. It wasn't called E3 showcase, it was called Summer Showcase back in June. And I think even from that trailer, people were like, well, what is this game? And truth be told, I didn't know until I put it on and started playing it I played it for a couple of hours now, I think. And it's so half of it, this is our if you're watching along with us, this is the video we ran at the showcase. Half of it is kind of like a sort of standard VR wave shooter. But then there's also kind of roguelike elements in it. So a bit of Hades, if you're playing Hades right now on a flat screen, or Until You Fall, or In Death, if you like those games in VR. But every time you die, you kind of reset the world's progress and you have to tackle like a dungeon, if you will, again. But you'll get some like permanent upgrades to carry over. The thing I'm not entirely sold on it, but the thing that I've really come to love about it is you're this kind of biodiversity champion, and you visit different planets that have been kind of ruined by giant corporations taking over with their mechanical ways, and you kind of want to liberate them and make them all lush and nice again. And you do that by taking down their robots, and that you use spells that, instead of it being like, oh, create the fireball spell and throw it, you're kind of like, you create a pattern with orbs, like you trace the pattern, and then you get like a staff, I guess you'd say, in your hand that then acts like kind of like a gun. And it's like this really interesting fusion of different motions in VR that feel like fun and organic. That you can see it happening on the screen right now. This is a really good trailer from the people at Splitverse.
Oh yeah, great guys.
Yeah. And it's like, instead of reloading a gun and pressing a button, you like trace a pattern with orbs to reload your gun. And like, it's funny that they get this dancer to do it, because
I was going to say,
once you get into the flow of the game, yeah, well, you kind of, I mean, not ballet, but you kind of do get into like the flow of things. So it's really, really nice. I don't think, in terms of like the sheer, the hook of a roguelike, you know, the kind of, oh, I've died, but I just want to go one more time, get more resources, try again. I don't think it has that quite down. I don't really get a tangible sense of how I'm progressing during my playtime. But apart from that, like in terms of the core gameplay, I think it's a very intriguing game. Unfortunately, came out on the same day as Population 1, which was maybe not the best move.
The one thing that I heard that was actually very...
Well, what is it with
the delay? The one thing that I heard that was very positive with the game, I heard someone loved the UI. They said that basically whoever created it, or like the graphics, was like a genius. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
You get a lot of style from the game, and like a lot of like spunk in that sense.
Yeah, and that is that for sure. It is such a groovy, smooth, focused game from that perspective. Made by a team in Paris, and you're like, yeah, you definitely have the Parisian touch to this game.
The je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, and I love it. I love it for that. Oh well, exactly. The je ne sais quoi of VR. Oh, I might steal that for a headline. But yeah, no. And in some senses, you know, like the feel of a VR game is more important than the mechanics of a VR game. But at the same time, if you're going to be a roguelike, you gotta provide that hook that's going to get me coming back for the next 20 hours, like I've played Until You Fall for now. Basically.
So they didn't necessarily like commit, but then.
I don't know if the right word is commit, but I don't think it's paced well enough, or explained well enough, I guess I would say.
Gotcha. Star Shaman. Sounds interesting. Quick shout out to people in the chat here. We've got Sampler19, Brian, we've got Claptrap, we've got Scott Mugford, Mike Ward, Person, Ready VR. We have Lily up in here. We've got everybody.
Yo, Lily.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. And Locks335, hello. And Scott Mugford has asked if we played Propagation VR. It's a free horror game on Steam. I have been meaning to try it out, Scott. So I'm gonna need to. He said it scared the crap out of him. So maybe I need to try that one on and put
the
a
main
playthrough
horror
here on the
guy
YouTube or something. Because I've heard. I've heard it's very short. So it's one of those things I could probably do in just a video, playthrough instead of a whole stream. I don't think there's enough content. But yeah, I need to check that one out. Thank you, Scott. And real quick before we move on to the news of the day, Jamie, you wanted to mention FrankenQuest 2.
Yes. Oh, good point. Yeah, that was just while we were like doing our opening little chit chat here. I wanted to mention the fact that I'm wearing my Quest 2 as usual this week, but last week we put up a video where I installed the FrankenQuest mod onto Quest 2 for the first time. So if you don't know what FrankenQuest is, it is taking the deluxe audio strap designed for the HTC Vive back in 2017 and then strapping it to your head. You can see it on the screen here right now, watching along. Yeah, that's my noggin, everyone. The cool thing about it this time is, so in the first quest, getting the deluxe audio strap on it was a bit of a faff. You didn't have to like permanently damage the headset, but you had to remove a strap that didn't want to be removed, and it was kind of janky and weird. This time with the setup they've got for Quest 2, literally just need to get some 3D printed clips, snap it on the side, and you're good to go like that. And for me, this is so easily the best and most comfortable way to experience this headset. HTC, funnily enough, HTC still sells this strap, even though they don't sell the original Vive anymore.
So hold on, you think this is more comfortable than the official Quest 2 Elite strap?
Yeah, for
really?
Sure.
Support,
what we're seeing here
right?
is, yeah, so the support is one really, really big aspect of it. It's also got the really good top head strap. And then all this hard plastic is just really, really well cushioned with that foam you can see just underneath on the back of my head. And then, of course, top of all of that, you've also got, it's in action. Now, if you're watching, you can see it in action. You've got these really, really good earphones that come with the deluxe audio strap that give you really, really good audio quality, which, if you've been playing Quest 2 without any headphones, can be a bit of an issue sometimes. Here's a fun little trivia fact. This is me installing the FrankenQuest 1. This was in April when it was still in lockdown, which blew mine and Zena's minds the other day.
Yeah. It was like first week, right?
Yeah. So that's
how much would it cost to get all that stuff you need? Is it like $100 or so, probably?
So the deluxe audio strap these days is going for about $120, so it's not cheap. Then these clips are about $15. I bought them from a company you could see on the side of these cardboard boxes called Business Company VR, that's a name, I'm sure.
Have you heard about that new game from Game Developer VR? They just came out with their new game.
Game Developer VR. They made the Game of the Year game, right?
It's a good software.
Good for them. Good joke, everyone. Well done for keeping that nerd joke rolling. But yeah, I thought
pretty awesome. I'm jealous. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I'm going to spend that much money to get one of those, but it looks pretty awesome.
I mean, it's so good. I have taken out the Elite battery strap, which obviously would have given me a couple more hours battery life, but I would prefer to have that because finally, for me, I've probably tried more Quest 2 straps than anyone at this point, and this is easily the most comfortable way to wear it. And I'm also wearing a VR cover in this shot, as I'm wearing right now.
Yeah, I've got my VR cover on my Quest 2 right now. I think, like you're saying that you don't have the battery pack, but you have a pocket. You can still put a battery in your pocket, so it's not like you lose that functionality.
I mean, women's clothes are notoriously pocketless, so I don't know.
Well, okay, so you lose that functionality.
I lose that function massively.
I mean, I don't know what Jamie wears. He can wear whatever he wants. I'm not going to judge him.
Yes.
All right. So speaking of hardware topics and things that are hopefully comfortable, the Reverb G2 is our first topic for the news segment of the VR download. We recently found out that the Reverb G2 is now shipping to people that pre-ordered and purchased the headset. No one at Upload VR has tried it yet, so no one has got their hands in it. No one has put their face in it. No one has any idea what the G2 is like. So we can't really speak from experience too much, but I can say that I tried the original Reverb, and I found it to be one of the more comfortable PC headsets that I had tried. It was very comfy on my face. I liked it quite a lot. I never got one. I had to go to HP's office and do a demo of it there, kind of like a behind closed doors thing back before it was announced. I liked it a lot back then. However, caveat here, it is a Windows VR headset, which means the tracking controllers are, below what I would consider par in terms of, Quest and other inside-out tracking systems. It's not as good. I've heard it has improved. Personally, I haven't tried a Windows headset in a while, so maybe it's a lot better now. Maybe software updates improved it. I don't know. But generally speaking, it's not quite as good. This does have more cameras, though. This has 4 cameras. The previous generation only had 2, so this would probably be better just by nature of that. But So Reverb G2. Hopefully we get one soon and we can assess it and do a review. I think Jamie's the one that's going to be doing the review of this headset.
Yeah, we're hoping to get a headset within the next week or two, hopefully.
Okay.
Sometimes I realize that Heaney God has put specks of dust in the studio recently, and I see them going past. Or at least I hope he has, otherwise I'm hallucinating. Anyway, please continue.
Interact taking over.
Mike Ward, quick answer to Mike Ward's question about battery banks. You just want to make sure you get one that has a good enough output for your Quest 2. Obviously, there's some official ones like the VR Power and stuff like that that's designed for it. You don't need one of those necessarily. I've used non-VR battery packs before. Generally speaking, what I found, if they are designed and marketed for the Switch, they're probably outputting enough power for the Quest. That's what I found.
That's a good
point. One note about that, though, is when you have a battery pack plugged into your Quest, it might seem like it's not charging, but once it gets down to about 75%, it should hold it there. It's not going to keep it at 100. The battery will drain to around 75, and then it'll hold it there until your battery pack dies, and then you have your Quest battery left after that.
Yep.
So just to let people know, there are other battery packs out there.
Other battery packs are available.
Mike Ward says that they think their Odyssey is just as good as the Quest 2 in terms of track. Maybe it has improved.
Oh, okay.
Because I will say the Odyssey and Odyssey Plus, those were the best Windows headsets when they came out.
I haven't tried them.
They're fantastic. The clarity is great. Yeah.
I only ever tried the Dell one like ages and ages ago.
Oh, God.
Okay. Not a good one.
The white one? Yeah, that one.
The white one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was that the Spider-Man one?
This one.
No, that was. You remember it was at. If you're in the UK, you'll know this name. It was at EGX, and I played Super Hot at the back of the convention hall for a long time on it.
Mm.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would say charging and using the battery at the same time is a bad thing, because Oculus has their own battery pack officially, and so clearly they endorsed the concept well enough is the main thing. So that's the G2. Should be shipping soon. If you ordered one, maybe you'll get one before us. Who knows? Let us know how it is in our Discord. You can find links to that on our website and in the description. But yeah, I think Jamie's going to be streaming with it once he gets it, and we'll be doing some Q&As and stuff. And
hopefully playing Flight Simulator with it. Because Flight Simulator is meant to be like a launch exclusive.
There you go.
We've got a 2060 Super somewhere in this house, so hopefully it can run in VR.
This is an important question. Do you have a throttle and stick?
I do.
A really janky one.
There you go. All right.
Oh no, it does work. It just didn't work for Flight Simulator that one time. But who knows? I have a Thrustmaster HOTAS.
If we can figure out a way to remove the exclusivity barrier, then I could stream it with Quest 2 as well using my flight stick that I did for Squadrons.
Very true.
I'm hoping it won't
By the
be
way,
too
we're
difficult.
hoping to get Heaney God in there, and he has his whole setup. So Heaney will be going pro, flying across the universe or the world.
Heaney's the sim guy at Upload. He actually plays these kinds of games recreationally, as opposed to everyone else at Upload who's like, oh, I'll play it for review and I'll check it out. No, he like has a flight chair and setup and stuff. So he's a little more into it than the rest of us.
He's not like 99% of the game's media that said, "Oh my god, Flight Sim is really, really cool." Played it for one streaming session, then never spoke about it again.
I buy my own house and move on.
Yeah, basically. I mean, I'm guilty of that. So.
All right, we'll move on to the next topic here. This is a really cool game that I know Jamie's excited about. This is a new announcement today, right? Brand new game announcement. So it is now I believe the 1000th game from this property in VR, roughly.
That sounds accurate, David. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay.
No, we're talking about Warhammer Age of Sigmar Tempestfall, which was announced today by Carbon Studios, the developers behind the Wizard series. And also, if you're a VR veteran, you might remember they did that weird Alice VR game years and years ago, which was like like that. It was like a futuristic take on it. Alice in Wonderland. It was very strange.
That one was reviewed by Joe Durbin, Upload alumni.
Shout out.
Yeah, who's Joe Durbin? I've never heard of him. Strange stuff.
Joe,
Anyway.
who heard of him?
Yeah, that sounds like Durbin. Nice try. Warhammer Tempestfall, Age of Sigmar Tempestfall. So yeah, Carbon, best known for the Wizards, who had this really cool gesture system in their games. Oh, look, it's me. They might not get this.
You can really tell who picked the topic for today's show, can't you? I mean, just like, good lord, all the face all over this video, man.
Yeah, man.
Well, I just thought, seeing as most people probably listen in audio, I can try and sneak my face in there a couple of times and not complain.
Stick anything it.
So yeah, anyway, this is really cool because basically the Wizards games use a gesture system to summon like shields, like you saw there in that little clip there. You can summon shields, you can make ice arrows, you can make fireballs just by using the motion controllers in different directions. Yeah, basically, much pewing. And they're gonna transfer that to this game, which is, most people, you say Warhammer, most people think of the 40k universe, which is the big, thick people in armor with their massive metal guns and their massive armor. Yeah, Space Marines. But this is way more mystical. This is way more supernatural, magic and whatnot. So they're going to be using that some of that here. It's a single player game. It's coming to VR next year. It's coming to PC VR and Quest.
So correct me if I'm wrong,
I'm looking forward to it.
There's already a Warhammer VR game out there. And there's also another one that's already in development that isn't out yet, right?
So there's like I think it's like a turn-based strategy game from a couple of years ago that had optional VR support. I can't remember what it's called. It didn't even have Warhammer in the title, even though it was set in 40k. It was a very strange one.
Right. It was a very weird. Yeah.
I don't think it ever even left early access. That's how strange that game is. And then later this month is Warhammer Battle Sisters, which is developed by a UK team called Pixel Toys, which is set in the 40k universe with the Space Marines, and you play as a Battle Sister and do lots of shooty. So it's kind of a Walking Dead situation, but at the same time, because they're set in two different universes, and they're actually different universes.
There's that, but also anyone that has, been playing games in the past 5-10 years should probably be used to the fact that there's 3 to 20 Warhammer games in development at any given time.
Yeah,
just all the
true.
time. I mean, there's so many. It's crazy.
They range from like Total War Warhammer to like Vermintide, right? So everything from a strategy game all the way down to like a Left 4 Dead kind of thing. What
was the dawn of 40k or whatever, the like top down game? Then you had the Space Marine spinoff series. I think there were like 2 or 3 of those, and there was like there's a bunch of wave shooter games, and there was an MMO in development for a while. And I mean, it's one of the most
milked coming out on Switch very soon as well. Yeah, they love it, and they know what they're doing there. They churn it out. It's kind of like it's funny because it reminds me that Space Hulk, yeah. That had experimental VR support back in 2014, I think. So, long history of VR and Warhammer.
Cutting edge.
I was going to say it reminds me as well that Wraith, the Oblivion Afterlife, which is also based on a tabletop game, is getting a VR
World of Darkness.
Game. World of Darkness, right? So people love it. People love seeing this stuff, and I'm very interested to see how they step it up, because their last game was the Wizards Dark Times, which was a really, really decent single player campaign. David reviewed that one earlier this year.
Yeah.
And
that was this
I'm
year?
hoping they step it up. Yeah, that was like July. That was not long ago.
Oh my god.
Going back to what you guys were saying, you were just reeling off all these like regular games from Warhammer. It's different when it comes to VR though, right? So it is a slightly shifted audience where many people may have not experienced any of the other Warhammer games, but with this, it could seem like a blatant Walking Dead situation. So they are just gonna pit them against each other, right?
Yeah, there's less room to compete, I guess, is the thing, right? Like when you're talking about video games in the wider spectrum, you have all these different platforms, you have all these different genres, but people see VR as a genre right now, don't they?
Yeah, it's just like
it isn't. It absolutely isn't, but that's how
shape,
people
right?
view it. Yeah. So I don't know. There is going to be distance between them because Battle Sisters releases, or maybe it's Battle Sister. Who knows? Yeah, it probably is.
Yeah.
I can't deal with plurality. I can't even say it. Plurality today. Plurality today. But that's coming out in a couple of weeks, and this isn't coming out till sometime in 2021. So we'll see how it goes.
Hopefully, there's enough.
Switching gears. That joke will make more sense in a second. It'll make more sense in a second. It's a foreshadowing of what's about to come. All right. So switching gears here, we're talking about another VR headset called the DecaGear. Right?
Okay.
That was awful. I'm sorry, Kyle number 2.
That was disappointing.
No. Hey, come on, chat, back me up here. Let me get some GGs in the chat for my good going, David. That's what that was
should
for.
Be F's instead.
The DecaGear. This is a new headset. We believe that it is legitimate and real. According to Valve, they have consulted with this company to get it working with SteamVR. So there is some there's some grain of truth that this is a real thing. When we talked to the founder of the company, we have our concerns about whether or not this will ever become a reality. There's a bit of a confusing shadiness going on. The guy used to run a spyware company and sold it, and now it's how many employees does he have? What are they actually working on? What's the real time frame? What's the real ETA? Is it realistic? How is it? How is hip tracking going to work? That's a weird feature. So there's a lot of weirdness in the air around this, right? So it's a little mysterious. It's a little confusing. It's a little out of nowhere. Literally never heard of this guy or this company before. So, I mean, what's your take on it, Jamie?
Well, just looking at this picture that we've got on screen right now, which you can find in our article on the website if you're listening to the podcast, doesn't the logo look a lot like the Valve Index logo?
Right.
It does.
It does, which is very strange. It's
almost like they're going for maybe a little brand confusion from people. Like they might think it's official by Valve, endorsed or something.
That's the problem with this is that the precedent for this kind of where the heck did these guys come from and how can they make such outlandish claims, right, is Pimax. And the thing about Pimax is who knows what's going on, where people's products are being shipped to, if people are satisfied with their headsets, if headsets work and whatnot, right? And that's all that skepticism we have to take and transfer to this. They are promising the same resolution as the Reverb G2, I believe. So that's, pretty much a 4K VR experience, higher than what you're seeing on the Quest 2, higher than what you're seeing on the Index right now. Which is, a promising start. And you think, well, maybe someone could pull that off. It's 4-camera inside-out tracking, I believe, and then it's going to be sold for $450, which is a really, really good price for that spec sheet. Again, if they can deliver it, and then also there's face tracking in there, right? Is what they say, or emotion tracking, or however you want to refer to it. I can't keep up with the way you refer to this. And they have this video of this in action.
Creepy.
I hope we're about to see it. Okay, we're about to see it, so we'll try and describe for anyone that's listening. But right now we're just seeing the headset being used.
Oh.
Okay, here we go. So a person is wearing the DecaGear and acting out in front of a player, basically. And in VR, they become a red-headed woman with vampire teeth, I want to say.
No, don't do it.
What's for apparently? It's very aggressive.
Good Lord.
So I guess they're trying to get across the idea that there's really good lip syncing in here, and there might be good lip syncing. I can't really tell right now.
Maybe she's cosplaying as someone that
Mass Effect.
Way too much Botox.
If you've played Mass Effect and you've ever seen Commander Shepard smile, that's the kind of vibe they're giving off right now. Now they brought up this other picture of the player's eyes and mouth to kind of like prove it's mirroring it, and the mirroring is very, very accurate. I'll say that. But you can see a lot of her teeth.
What I'm wondering is the issue the lip tracking, or is the issue just really bad 3D modeling? You know, because I feel like
I think that's it, right?
Yeah, because I feel like the syncing of the lips is actually pretty good. It's just why is her mouth so big, and why are there so many teeth all the time? You know, I think that's the main issue. It's just the animation's bad.
The Sonic the Hedgehog like human teeth, like.
Oh no! Oh, you've hit the nail on the head.
This is a secret, Trojan horse sequel to Sonic 06. She's about to make out with a hedgehog right now.
Oh my god, yeah, tongue tracking, here we go.
The silly thing is, I think if you read Heaney's article, I could be wrong, but I think is that the founder says there's like a team of like 19 or so people working on this right now. And for, this is the founder right now, I think we're seeing on the screen.
His last name is Kunzman, I think is something like that.
Kunzman is what it is. From Tel Aviv University, I believe. It's all impressive stuff, and it's for the size and scale of the team, it's just making this stuff in your office and whatnot is one thing, and showing it off as R&D demos is one thing. Selling it for $450, especially if you put out a big like pre-order scheme where, let's say, tens of thousands of people pre-order your headset, then getting it out to everyone in working condition. That's something that we've actually seen, come apart a fair number of times in the VR industry, whether it's headsets or whether it's, Kickstarter campaigns or whatnot. So,
and also for something like this, something like face tracking, the big question in my mind isn't, can it work? That's not even the question. My question is, what's the content? Who's making content for this stuff?
Exactly.
Because if a developer doesn't support it, who cares about the feature? Like Leap Motion has been around for 6 years, but hand tracking is just now catching on because Oculus did it inside their own headset.
Or the Vive trackers, right? Like Vive released all these really cool tracking pucks, which you could do so much cool stuff with. But
great tech demos.
I couldn't tell you that a game in the last 3 years that released with support for it, right?
Yeah, just VR chat. Really, that's the only one that continues to use it.
Yeah. So, we're gonna be watching this. They say it's shipping next year. We'll be watching it with much interest. I'm rooting for them, is what I would say. Like anyone that wants to deliver a great VR headset, I want them to do that. It's just we all know how hard this stuff is. We all know that the Oculus Quest 2 took a silly amount of research, stupid amount of money, and then at the end of the day, a company that was probably willing to make a very big loss on hardware sales to make happen, right? And now you've got a company that's promising a spec sheet that's almost better than, that is better than Quest 2 in some ways, for cheaper than what a company like HP is selling for the Reverb 2. I've been working in VR I've been working in VR for like 6 years now, and in that time I've learned that when people overpromise on hardware, it usually is too good to be true. Zena's going for a walk.
Some questions.
Okay.
Sorry.
With the controllers for $450?
Think so. We just saw them. I can't say for sure, but we just saw them in the box there and on screen.
He's saying yes. Heaney's saying yes.
Yes.
So I think it comes with the headset, controllers, and a hip tracker. I think is the whole package for $450. So that's pretty ambitious.
Okay, let's revisit hip tracking. Is it just meant to be that by tracking the hip you get full body tracking, or is it going to be like a special version of Beat Saber where you
I think it's used for movement. It's like there's like some apps on Steam that use straps up to your feet, such as here. So I think it's just like it comes with a tracking band, basically, is what it's saying. So you can do stuff like that, or you can put it on your hip so that whenever you move your body, it knows which direction you're moving and facing. Like one example was, instead of be having to position yourself with your headset or your controller for movement. It would know where your body's facing for movement, so you can move hands independently and still move the direction you're facing, and you move your head at the same time. So it's just kind of very, very, archaic, kind of very simple body tracking, just directional only, essentially, and maybe up-down movement. One person here brings up a point that let me see who said the comments. Claptrap said, "Isn't it the point that you create the technology, then the content follows?" I agree with that sentiment, but I think there needs to be partnerships with content creators and developers before something launches. So you have not just tech demos like this, but there needs to be experiences that actually utilize it from launch. And maybe they just haven't announced that stuff yet.
Sony didn't just release a PlayStation and tell developers, okay, have at it. Sony, months ahead of time, were like, we're making this. Here's millions of dollars to make a game for it so that people buy it on day one, right?
So hopefully they have. I'm hoping they have the funding and the connections to get content ready for something that uses these features, because it really needs to be demonstrated in a way that sells the advantage that you get from that kind of stuff. And I think social VR is obvious, I'm sure VR chat's going to have facial tracking support for this headset. And I think that alone, a lot of people will buy this headset for VR chat just by itself. Because there's a lot of people that buy the SteamVR tracking pucks. There are people that run dance classes in VR chat because they have body tracking. So I think face tracking is a really big thing for a lot of people that do stuff like VR chat a lot.
So the main thing on my mind with this headset is I'm going to go on Ian here. I'm going to take a step back and look at the industry. So the main big news right now in terms of companies making headsets is Facebook, and people are very discontented with them because of various reasons, and they're this big massive company that everyone wants to almost fight against, right?
Rally against.
And then there is this independent developer making a headset, which is almost like the opposite of what Facebook is about, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And yet there is still this kind of discontent around that. It's where do we find this kind of middle picking gap?
Yeah, that's a really good point, because it also I always think about this as well. It's like when people are like, "Oh yeah, Facebook is going to ruin VR." It's like, what? And you think Google's going to be the one to save it? You think Apple's going to be the one to save it?
Same with the HP as well, right? So HP, with the Reverb G2, we're like, okay, cool, yeah, we're ready for this. However, David, oh yeah, but the tracking isn't necessarily up to the standards of what I like. So, there's amazing tech, both sides, but, people have got these strong opinions about them. And then the middle people aren't quite there technology-wise.
They want to make, Kickstarters that get them, really the most successful Kickstarters only still get you a certain way through the journey at the end of the day. Oculus would not have become what Oculus was, even with, at the time, the most successful Kickstarter of all time, I believe it was. They would have not got anywhere near as far as they have right now without Facebook's backing, right? So yeah, you're right that it's tough, because we look at these independent companies with that skepticism, but it would be really, really cool if they delivered and they became the next big thing in VR. It's just that's really tough thing to battle against.
The obvious foil here to Facebook, which most gamers out there, they're kind of fantasizing about, is a world where Valve takes VR more seriously, right? Because obviously they have the Index headset, they have Half-Life Alyx, but I think a lot of people imagine a world where Valve were to release something that's has the fidelity of the Index with the Knuckles controllers and a wireless adapter if you want it, and they're developing 2 to 3 games a year at least, and that's what people want. And I don't think Valve wants to do that. That's not the company they are. And I mean,
Yeah.
I'm trying to imagine a world where I'm Gabe Newell, and why would I even bother? You know, like Steam just prints money for me. Like what? I mean, I guess
that's
if I
why
have
you
some
bother, right?
deep-seated yearning for creativity, then maybe I'll do something. But it's like, I don't know, man. Like Steam is just so lucrative. It's like, can you really fault the guy for taking VR kind of slow and waiting for there to be enough people? You know, it's like, I don't think they're going to do anything for a little while.
I suppose so, but then again, Valve has never been this kind of we've got to be cutting edge. We need to have something new every year, right?
Yeah.
So they, you know, that's kind of like baked into them almost, right? Of just going at their own pace and making stuff that they think is good, and it's almost like Gabe made a headset that he wants, right?
Yeah.
Rather than thinking about the industry, which that's my take on it, and it, you know, is very good in my opinion.
Great opinion. It is a good opinion. I think
the thing that you said there.
The thing is, like, I think they wanted Index to be all that we're talking about right now. It's just that the thing had drastically terrible shipping delays all the way through its life. Well, it continues to have it all the way through its life because it's only a year and a half into it now.
What was it back at? Like,
I think it's only just catching up stock-wise.
Yeah, didn't Gabe say that, you know, they're looking into wireless? That was what, a year and a half ago? Nothing since. No peep of anything.
I mean, then again, COVID happened, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, exactly. That's a very good point. And Gabe Newell has been stuck in New Zealand for most of the year because of it. But it's interesting. Valve is the very interesting middle point in all of that. And I want Valve to come out. I want them to look at Index and be like, okay, how can we improve upon this? Even though that's kind of what they were meant to be doing with Index on top of what's HTC's headset called? Vive. There we go. So I don't know. That's just a total wait and see at the moment, right? Like, what the heck is going to happen next year? Or does Valve see Reverb G2 as its Index 2? Or because I mean, the other thing. This is going way off topic now, but the other thing is, we can talk all we want about new exciting PC VR hardware, but what's going to reignite the ecosystem right now? Because I don't get excited about much PC VR gaming at the moment, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
It's only really Quest at the moment.
I feel like it's just another case where Facebook has really dropped the ball in terms of their content, because, you know, on paper, if you rewind a year, you know, there was plenty that I felt like Facebook could have done to market the things they have coming up. And I understand COVID, you know, derails some plans, but in terms of like a digital marketing campaign, it doesn't have to change that much. You know, like you have a new Medal of Honor game, which can appeal to not only nostalgic gamers of the past that love that franchise, but also appeals to the current breed of Onward Pavlov gamers for being a VR first-person shooter with multiplayer. And then you have a whole entire campaign that's reportedly 10 plus hours long. Like that is like, that should be like the game that every VR, you know, headset wants. You know, that's like the ideal VR game if you look at the market right now. And there's so many people that don't even know that game exists, that it's coming out in less than 2 months. You know, like, that's just so bizarre to me that they're not promoting their own content enough. I don't understand.
Same for Lone Echo 2 right now. I understand that's kind of seems like it's been in development hell this year, but where the heck is it, right? Like, the first one was like a 2017 game, I want to say, and it was such a big success in different ways, like critically and to some extent commercially. Yeah, and then now it's just disappeared. And
I mean, their strategy has been to buy companies. But if you don't do anything with the content those companies make, then, you know, what's the point? Like, okay, you own Ready at Dawn, you know, congrats. But now where's Lone Echo? You know, like, oh, you own Sanzaru. They made Asgard a year ago. But what they haven't done anything since then. You know, it's
the thing is, they've condemned PC VR in a way, obviously, by killing Rift.
Yeah, it does feel like that a bit.
Well, that's my take on it.
No, I agree. Like, I just, in some ways they haven't, in some ways they have. It's like, Yeah, like, I want another exciting ecosystem out there aside from Quest, and we don't really have one at the moment. Like
Tired of saying it.
Yeah, we're gonna get into this in a bit, but like I need PlayStation to come in strong. I want PC to pick it up. But yeah, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, I mean that's the perfect segue. That's our hot topic of the day is the PlayStation 5, and as a connection to that, the PlayStation VR platform as a whole. So, like we said at the beginning of the show, I do have a PS5 already. I have played Astro's Playroom. I can talk about the first level of that game, which is not very much, but it's about 20 minutes of gameplay. So I can talk about that a little bit. I have a few articles up at the side. We have an unboxing that's on our YouTube. We have a bunch of unboxing photos at uploadvr.com. I have an analysis of the controller, which is a weird thing to say out loud, but the DualSense controller, I think, is just absolutely incredible. I think it is a good preview of the future of haptics. I think I told someone the other day that it is the most innovative game controller since the introduction of the analog stick. Like to me, it is so good.
Even more so than the Wiimote.
I mean, yeah.
Even more than the Wii U gamepad.
Oh, true. Good point. And if you're watching the stream right now, you'll see the video here. You'll see my extremely bad camera angles and relatively poor camera quality. So I do apologize for that. If you go to the website, though, uploadvr.com, there are some, I think, excellent photos. I'm quite proud of the photos I took. So those are really nice.
Great angles on the photos, to be fair.
Yes, great angles on the photos. There. Exactly.
To be fair, it's talk a little bit about angle.
It is. It's hard to fit it in the frame. It's so big. It's kind of ridiculous.
Hard to fit it in anything.
Yeah. The controller, just to touch again on what I was saying, there are two reasons why that controller is so great. One is the adaptive triggers, which are on the back, the R2 and L2 buttons. Depending on what game you're playing and what you're doing in the game, the developers can choose to increase or decrease the resistance of the triggers. And the way they feel when you press them can be so granularly customized. It is crazy. Like there's a part in Astro where you pull down the spring of a robot, and it felt like I could feel the mechanical pulling of the spring. It was just ridiculous. And then whenever I'm walking across the surface like metal or sand or glass or something, the way the controller feels and vibrates, like the little micro vibrations, I could tell what I was walking on without looking at the screen because of how it felt. It was just so incredible. And I can't wait to see what they do with that technology in their new VR controllers that I'm hoping are going to be awesome for the PSVR 2. There's so much potential there because haptics is a huge area that just hasn't really improved in VR. In a consumer-facing way, there's a lot of tech out there, but none of it is in a consumer device. So, seeing that kind of haptics in a controller that anyone can buy is really exciting. I'm excited to see where that goes for VR, especially. Now, look at the design; it's so weird. Like it's so wobbly and straight. You have to use the stand. It's so weird.
It looks like you remember the original PS3 looked like a George Foreman grill. This kind of looks like you push down really hard on some areas of the George Foreman grill to flatten it on one side, and then they kind of burgeoned on the other. And so in some ways it really is a progression.
You sound like a man who's used a George Foreman grill.
I know my way around a George Foreman grill. Yeah, they're fantastic, right? I'm excited about the future of VR on George Foreman grills more than anything, really.
The Samsung fridge.
Yeah,
or LG is it? Sorry.
Cooking simulator VR. It's coming out real soon, so I think. Yeah. And so to the topic of what you were bringing up earlier, Jamie.
Yeah.
The issue of the PSVR platform, right? I mean, we have the PS5, which is this new headset that's coming out in at this point about 2 weeks. And it's going to have, some exciting new games. It's got a Spider-Man. It's got Demon's Souls. It's got, some Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, blah, blah, blah. And If you want to use your VR headset with the PS5, you have to order a separate adapter that's not in the box. It is a free delivery, but you have to order a separate adapter. And then if you want to play any of your VR games, you have to use that adapter with the old camera shown here on the screen. And it only works with PS4 VR games, right? So the big question is, Jamie, is we know of games that are coming out that aren't out yet that are going to have PS4 versions that will have VR support, like Hitman 3. But if you got the PS5 version of that game and you tried to play it with your PS4 VR headset, it's our understanding at this moment that that's probably not going to work, right? Like you have to have the PS4 version of the game to play it in VR on your PS5. And it's very convoluted. For something that's not even out yet, it's already fragmenting and getting very confusing.
I've been trying for the life of me for the past 3 months or so to get an answer out of someone, a developer, someone at Sony, anyone, about what is going on with this. Because I think it was back in August, Hitman revealed that it would have PSVR support, and Hitman is coming to both PS4 and PS5, like you said. And that was crazy exciting because it's not just Hitman 3. You can import your old levels from the other two games, play the entire new Hitman trilogy in VR. Such a cool idea. And then, at the time they said, we're still working out the details of how we're bringing VR to players on PlayStation, which in my mind was, when alarm bells first rang, was like, are we not going to be able to play the VR stuff on PS5? Because we know that you can't use DualShock 4 controllers and PlayStation Move controllers with PS5 games. And we also know that the DualShock, the DualSense controller isn't really designed for new camera tracking because it doesn't have the LED light bar on the back. It's now facing the player. And then as we progress, Developer.io Interactive hasn't really ever solidly answered that. And then I think last week they put up pre-orders for the game, and it's very strange there because at Best Buy and Limited Run Games on PS4, they say it supports PSVR. On PS5, there's no mention of PSVR. And then the other thing that happened this week was that No Man's Sky announced their next generation version, which isn't just an update, it is a native release for those new consoles. So it will be a free upgrade for people, but it is a whole new game in that sense, if you know what I mean. You're not just booting up the PS4 version, downloading the latest update. You're going to the PlayStation Store, downloading a whole new game. And they said that PSVR support is available by virtue of backwards compatibility, which you would not say if you meant you can boot up the PS5 version and access
because the question asked is, does No Man's Sky on PS5 have PSVR support? That's the question.
Yep.
And the answer is, via backwards compatibility, you can play it with your PSVR and PS4. That's not a yes.
Yeah.
That's a major caveat.
Exactly. So it's and again, this could all change, but it's really, really, really looking like if you have a PS5, you want to play No Man's Sky in VR, you have to download the PS4 version. And we don't even know that if you buy the PS5 version, if anyone will give you the PS4 version for free. So people might end up buying the PS5 version. It's driving me crazy.
Right? Because they've talked about free upgrades. If I have PS4 No Man's Sky, I can, I can put my disc in, or I can download my PS4 version, go into the store, and I can upgrade it to PS5 version. But do they have the reverse?
Yep.
If I've never owned a PS4, I've never bought a PS4 game in my life, I buy a PS5 and I go out, I get a PSVR headset, I get the adapter, and then I want to play No Man's Sky in VR, and I go in the store and buy the PS5 version. What happens? Do I get both versions? Just are they bundled in the back end, and I get both, or how does that work? They haven't talked about that.
And then building on top of that, the thing that really stings about all of this was back at the start of the year, the prospect of the PS5, everyone thought, oh my God, imagine getting an update to your PS4 VR games that got them up to spec on PS5, no hassle, completely free of charge, and suddenly they're as good as their PC VR versions. Imagine finally something like Arizona Sunshine. All Vertigo Games has to do is just patch the game, and it's finally running like it runs on PC. They're not doing all the really crazy optimizations they had to do to get that game running on PS4 years and years ago. And it just seemed to me that that was such like a quick, obvious, easy win. And of course, now as we get further and further, it's looking increasingly like the all really PS4 backwards compatibility is on PS5 is the PS4 Pro versions at best, right? Like it's not, you can't update your PlayStation 4 game to have PS5 specific features, unlike you can do on Xbox, it seems.
Yeah.
So what was such a promising start for PSVR on PS5, personally for me, has very, very, very quickly eroded away. And now I thought Sony could have done enough to stave off hunger for PSVR 2 until like 2022, maybe. Now I want them to get that thing out there as soon as possible. I want them to because we don't even now, it doesn't even seem like possible that PSVR 2 might support old PS4 games, which would just be the worst thing ever. I would be so disappointed if that's the case. And I just want them to kind of put this really wrong foot behind them and next year be like, yeah, okay, don't worry, we are going to do another VR headset. It's going to have Gran Turismo 7. It's going to have Resident Evil 8. It's a case of the Quest 2 is so good in terms of taking all of the games that came before and supporting them. Rift did that. Valve Index does that. Any game on SteamVR basically does that. That is basically a standard baked into VR right now, especially because VR is such a young industry. It needs all the help it can get. And it would have been so cool for developers to be able to reach a whole new audience with better versions of their games so easily. That's kind of what the industry needs. And it's just not going to get that right now in 2 weeks' time, which is really
it's kind of interesting because what you're talking about here is the concept of generation, right? That's something that VR hasn't had to contend with yet because even the Gear VR, a lot of those games got ported to Go and they got ported to Quest.
Yep.
And the Rift S, that's the same platform. Vive Pro, Vive Cosmos, Index, same platform. There has not been a new VR headset that can't play a VR game that came before it. It's where we're reaching this point now where we're about to see a line get drawn between generations, and that hasn't happened in VR yet. So there's going to be growing pains with it. And so I guess, from Sony's perspective, you can see what they're doing. I think I understand it in the sense that the PSVR, it doesn't have PS4 in the name, but that is a PS4 device. So I'm guessing whatever way it interfaces with your PS5, the PS5 understands that as a backwards compatibility feature. So it works with PS4 VR games, but for whatever reason, I'm guessing the way they architected things, the PS5 VR games, whenever they eventually come out, I'm assuming will require the new VR headset, just as by nature of it being connected to the new platform, new generation. Like the DualSense controller can't work on the PS4. The PSVR 2 is required for PS5 VR games. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing that's what it'll be.
Yeah, and bringing that full circle. Sorry, it's just what you were saying about the DualSense earlier, which is just so exciting. The idea that those haptics and that trigger resistance could be in any VR game on PSVR going forward. The idea that in a shooter, like let's say they do a remastered version of Blood and Truth, and you're really going to feel the pull of each trigger and all the different interactions they built in there, right? There's so much potential in there, and that's so exciting. It's just a shame that
I hadn't even bothered to think about the way it could be used in existing PSVR games. Oh my god. Yeah. I mean, Blood and Truth.
There's a world of potential there.
The thing is, again, like this is console VR, right? So Facebook has promised backwards compatibility. They promised that right from the beginning, right? So that is something that we can hold them to. So when it comes to generations, you know what you're going to get to a certain extent, right? Whereas with PlayStation, they've just kept quiet and they've gone the very traditionalist route in terms of generations, like you were saying. So I think it's just going to be such a tough battle forward. I mean, because with the announcement of Quest 2, I was like, okay, cool, yeah, fine, great. If they when they announce PSVR 2, that's when I'm gonna get really excited. But
for sure.
it's because I know there is going to be, that traditional generational jump, right?
Yeah, and especially going from PSVR to PSVR 2. I mean, the other thing about it is though, we are talking about generations and everything but it's not just Facebook and Valve changing that conversation this generation. It's Microsoft as well. The Xbox Series X and S runs circles around the PS5 when it comes to backwards compatibility at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. And so Sony is being very staunch and sticking to this. We believe in generations, and that means that we get to remaster Spider-Man again, and you have to pay for it again, even though it only came out 2 years ago. That's they're sticking to that. And basically everyone else in the industry right now, apart from Nintendo, is making them look bad from that front.
Yeah, one thing I do want to respond to, person is asking, do we even know for sure that there is a PSVR 2? And I would say yes, because they've had people from their R&D, development, architect teams talk about their next headsets, about what would be in a PSVR 2. They haven't named it. They haven't announced that it's coming or when it's coming. But they've had plenty of people internally at Sony discuss what the future of VR is going to be vaguely and talk about features and talk about. They even said that they're not going to release it alongside the PS5 because they want the PS5 to have room to breathe and launch, and then later on we release the next headset like they did PSVR. So they've talked about it in those terms. So to me, that's an implicit confirmation that a new headset is in development and is coming. I mean, none of us here at Upload have had the chance to interview any of the people on those R&D teams, so we haven't, asked them, or gotten them to say the phrase PSVR 2. But I think it's pretty clearly on the way. It's just we don't know when.
I have no doubt in my mind that it is happening. Basically, it's just a question of if it's 2021 or 2022, and I suspect it's 2022. Personally,
I mean, looking at the evidence as well, not only from hearing from people from Sony, but also looking at the job listings that we found where they literally said next gen. And as well as we've seen patents, right?
We've seen developers mention their games are coming to the next gen PSVR. That's happened more than once.
Yeah,
that's a very good point, actually. Yeah. So it's gonna happen, and I'm really, really excited about it because as much as I love Quest 2. Quest 2 is never going to get Resident Evil 8. Quest 2 is not going to get Gran Turismo 7. And VR still needs that level of production. Yeah, VR, I mean, even just carrying on the line of PSVR games, Blood and Truth 2, Iron Man 2, Astrobot 2, actual Astrobot 2, not that fake crap that's launching with PSVR Worlds 2, maybe PSVR. I mean, there's 5 games in that, so PSVR Worlds 10. All of that stuff needs to happen. And at the end, there's
and not to mention,
isn't on PlayStation yet.
We forgot to mention Impulse Gear. What are they working on? Farpoint 2, right?
Exactly. That's a great point.
They've been working on a game for years now, and I will never forget going to that E3 because for the first time ever, a VR game had the giant billboard over the convention center that usually goes to Call of Duty.
Yep.
Sony paid for Farpoint to have that placement.
Wow.
So that was a big moment. I remember seeing that before the game had been announced. We saw the billboard, and we were just oh my god, there's a PSVR headset up there with an aim controller. That's huge. So I'm excited to see.
It's such a cool game.
It was, and it had good co-op. The whole campaign was playable in co-op. It had some cool multiplayer challenge maps. Yeah. Oh no, wait, no, it was separate. It was separate co-op maps. You're right. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it had a cool story, and it was great facial animations for the time back when that came out. I mean, it was ahead of its time in a lot of ways. So I want to know what they're working on because obviously they're working on something.
Yeah, for sure. I have no doubt in my mind that as soon as PSVR 2 gets announced, that will be the VR ecosystem I want to be involved with the most. I mean, PSVR was the ecosystem I was involved with the most. It's just so dated now. So dated. And the fact that people are probably going to have to put up with it for probably another 2 years on a new console that isn't even going to take advantage of the graphical horsepower that it affords. And people are going to have to use these freaking Move controllers for another 2 years, which are just,
like,
God damn it, they're the worst things in the world.
Like, let's talk about what that's like here, because you have like the Quest 2 versus the Gear VR. You know, that's happened over the course of 5 years, right? 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
and there's been a huge jump in technology and, you know, graphical power and, you know, all the features tracking. The Move controllers and the PlayStation camera came out with the PS3. Like, that is roughly 10 years old, that technology. And they're still trying to use that in 2020 VR games. Like, that's like, just putting that into perspective here of what the next PSVR headset could be like. That jump in quality could be astronomical compared to anything we've seen so far.
Astrobotic. Yeah, it could be. Sure. Sorry.
All right, whatever you say, woman, Kyle. I feel like that's a good place to wrap. Watch this space.
What, a woman, Kyle?
No, don't watch. No.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting time, exciting time. Go ahead.
I'm just saying. On the subject of rapping. I've been sitting on the stairs for the entire episode, and my butt is in a lot of pain.
Oh man, I did that last time I was on. I mean, that was like years ago.
Yeah, that was ages ago. Okay. I got a bony butt, everyone. I don't know if you needed to know that, but I do have that. And it's painful. I'm in a lot of pain right now. But that's what I'm willing to go through for this audience and this podcast.
There we go. That's dedication right there. Quick housekeeping items. We are going to have more PS5 coverage. Nothing else this week, but next week we are going to have impressions of using the PSVR on the PS5. I'll have a full assessment of whether or not it's worth it. My gut tells me it won't be, but I haven't tried it yet. I don't know. We're going to have a lot of more details about that kind of stuff. For VR, yeah. I'm talking about for VR.
Not just generally the system. You didn't just break a massive embargo. Not worth it.
No. Exactly. For VR is what I'm talking about. And lots of other good stuff is coming soon to the site. Lots of streaming over the next few weeks. I think we're going to be trying to go live pretty much every day here on the YouTube channel. And so, to that note, we have a big announcement to make about the VR Download Show. You've been used to watching it every Thursday, like today, here on YouTube, you know, once a week, talking about the news and all that good stuff. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking our one single awesome show. We're going to break it into 2 shows. You see that? You see what happened there? We had one, and now it's going to be 2, just like that. That's what happens.
One becomes 2.
Exactly.
Oh, way around.
So now we are moving to a new format, new schedule. On Mondays, we will be having the hardware version of the VR download. It'll be mostly hardware topics, headsets, industry topics. Yes, the outlook of the industry, trends, a lot of that kind of stuff. And then on Thursdays, like today, but probably earlier in the day, we'll nail down a time later. We're going to be doing a gaming-focused show. So it'll be led by me and Jamie here. On Thursdays here on our YouTube, we'll be having a studio discussion in the VR download, but specifically about gaming. So Monday will be industry topics, hardware topics, trends. Thursday will be very focused on VR games, maybe AR games if we ever have any that are worth talking about.
And content.
And content in general.
Like movies and stuff like that as well. Yeah,
Yeah. So we're kind of splitting it into the software and then the hardware, like two separate shows, both equally great. So double the content for you guys. We're going to be putting them both out as podcasts as well, audio versions. Both are going to be the VR download, same quality, all that good stuff. But we will have 2 shows now, and good stuff. I have a phone ringing in this room, so let me mute my mic real quick. Jamie, you can go ahead and talk about something.
I'm excited about splitting into the 2 shows, Zena.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know if we're supposed to say this, and I don't know if he's going to be like, shut up, you don't know. But
That doesn't sound like Heaney at all.
I'm also excited about Heaney God turning into Heaney Human.
Yeah, that might be happening soon. You might get to meet Heaney on the screen in the boxed formation, because hopefully, eventually, like, I don't think Heaney wants to be just making the studio forever. I might be wrong. He might love it.
He is bursting with opinions and
I think he exists in the metaverse. He's a cloud being at this point. And a quick shout out here to Adam Hartzell.
No.
Adam Hartzell says, I'm Team David, Xena, Jamie. Kyle and Ian can stuff it.
Oh, it's like Civil War of the podcast.
Oh, man. We're going to start getting compared. We're going to have to like assess our stats together. Who gets the more viewers? Who's more popular? Oh, man. It's going to be a civil war.
I'm gonna have to start being smarter than Ian, which I don't think is possible, or Heaney, which I also don't think is possible. But anyway, that'll be fun.
So also, in addition to that, to let you know kind of the full landscape of our streaming here on YouTube. Mondays will be the VR download, hardware, industry topics, trends, that kind of stuff. Tuesdays will be mostly me, sometimes other people doing game streams here on the YouTube. Wednesdays. The David Show, that's right. Wednesdays will be VR Roulette. So do our silly, quirky game show where we play random stuff off of different headsets. Thursdays will be the VR Download Experiences in Gaming software show. And then Fridays will be another game stream from me or someone else. Usually me solo or just someone helping out in chat. So yeah, that's our slate of content for the week. We're going to try to stick to that schedule and see what happens.
Yeah, gonna be good.
Yeah, man.
Looking forward to the videos, and also VR recaps are coming back. We haven't done one of those in a while because we've been making so much other video content. Yeah. First, that's our like kind of news bulletin show. That's back today with a recap of what's happening with the new Warhammer game. Maybe some cool stuff happening in December, but we're still finalizing that. But if you like showcases, but you wish that VR showcases were like prolonged a little bit and maybe a bit more focused, maybe there could be something quite exciting in December that maybe we'll have an announcement about.
Less intense than an hour's show, maybe. Who knows? Maybe more intense. I hope more intense.
More intense.
Brains are going to be exploding.
Oh God,
curious.
Hopefully, not more intense for me.
All right. So before we fully wrap up here, someone in the chat tell me what I should play tomorrow here on YouTube. Well, what game do you want to see me stream tomorrow? And while we wait for votes on that,
Blair Witch.
There's been a couple of releases.
I could do Blair Witch. Oh, interesting question for you, Jamie.
I mean,
what are the first 3 PSVR games I should play on PS5?
Oh, okay. Iron Man VR, because we want to check out if there's any performance differences there, because that would really, really make or break that game. Now, should I say stuff that I know you won't like? No, I shouldn't. I should say. Did you ever check? Oh, you haven't played The Last Guardian yet, have you? You should play The Last Guardian flat, and then you should play The Last Guardian VR experience, because that is the boy. The boy. It's really, really, really good.
Okay. And so I'll set aside 20 hours tomorrow to do that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for the sarcasm. Really appreciate it. And then last one.
Sarcasm.
What's last one. Think, Jamie. Think. What's coming out recently that's good? Try The Walking Dead on Onslaught, Saints and Sinners.
Okay.
Why not?
Because we all like that. We all like that.
All right.
We all like to stab a zombie.
Sounds good.
Stab a zombie.
There we go.
All right.
Cool. All right. It looks like here in the chat we got some votes for some spoopy games. Five Nights at Freddy's. Some people want to see the new Ubisoft space game potentially.
We could do that. That would be cool. It's not exactly a Halloween game, though, is it? Unless it is, and no, they haven't told anyone. It's like a PT thing. They're actually geniuses.
Maybe I'll wait and do that one another time. It makes more sense to do horror. So maybe tomorrow I'll do like a variety stream. You know,
Nice.
I'll do a little Blair Witch, do some Five Nights, do some other stuff like that.
Enough.
FNAF. All right,
No.
cool. Well, thank you
Yeah.
everybody for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure you tune in on Monday for the first iteration of our new spin-off hardware-focused VR download show. And come back again tomorrow to see some spooky VR content. Thank you very much, Jamie and Zena, for hanging out with me here today, going over the news and topics.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, you know what? You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay?
That's okay.
You're welcome.
Can you do this?
All right.
Can I
Thanks,
do what?
everybody. We'll see you again on the next one. Or I'll be like Kyle. We'll see you in the future.
In the metaverse or whatever it is.
Voyage.